Before we get started with the Avatar 2009 review, be sure to check out the Avatar 2009 commentary on patreon.com/LuckyDog Podcast. It is a free commentary review to watch Avatar 2009 alongside with me at the same time. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/LuckyDog Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog Podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. This podcast is sponsored by EliasRoushMedia.com, photo, video, digital media production. Today we are discussing one of the most notorious films in current history at this point, mostly because of numerous factors, mostly because it's become one of the highest grossing pieces of media ever to come to the big screen, Avatar 2009. Avatar is a 2009 epic science fiction film directed, written, co-written, and co-edited by James Cameron. Starring Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Michelle Rodriguez, Sigourney Weaver. It is set in the mid 22nd century when humans are colonizing Pandora, a lush habitable moon of a gas giant in the Alpha Centauri star system, in order to mine the valuable mineral unobtainium. So you can probably hear that. The word in there. I'm not going to go too deep in that. The expansion of the mining colony threatens the continued existence of a local tribe, the Na'vi, a humanoid species indigenous to Pandora. The title of the film refers to the genetically engineered Na'vi body operated from the brain of a remotely located human that is used to interact with the natives of Pandora. So the development of Avatar began in 1994 when James Cameron wrote an 80-page treatment for the film. Filming was supposed to take place after the completion of Cameron's Titanic in 1997 for a planned release of 1999. However, according to Cameron, the necessary technology was not yet available to achieve the vision of his film. Work on the language for the Na'vi began in 2005, and Cameron began developing the screenplay and fictional universe in early 2006. Avatar was officially budgeted at $237 million due to a groundbreaking array of new visual effects Cameron achieved in cooperation with Weta Digital in Wellington, in New Zealand. Other estimates put the cost between $280 million and $310 million for the production, and at $150 million for promotion. The film made extensive use of the new motion capture technology filming techniques and was released for traditional viewing, 3D viewing, using Real D, 3D, Dolby 3D, Expansion D, 3D, IMAX 3D formats, and 4D experiences in select South Korean theaters. Excuse me while I get some coffee. Avatar premiered in London on December 10th, 2009, and was released in the United States on December 18th. Two positive reviews, critics highly praising its groundbreaking technology, groundbreaking visual effects. During its theatrical run, the film broke several box office records and became the highest grossing film at the time, as well as the United States and Canada's, surpassing Cameron's Titanic, which had held those records for 12 years. Avatar remained the highest grossing film in the world for nearly a decade, until it was overtaken by Avengers Endgame in 2019. But a Chinese re release of Avatar led the film to retaking the worldwide top spot in March 2021, where it has been ever since. So, my personal take on re-releasing of films to kind of quote unquote claim the top spot again. I know it was like Avengers or Avatar, and either one, it's Disney owning both. So, what does it really matter at that point? But I kind of feel like that shouldn't matter as much. I know in the long run, it's like how much money, long term, the longevity of the film, how much it's made, and I think this one has made, I think, somewhere around 2.9 billion in the box office. So that's honestly just sounds ridiculous to say in my head on a budget of let's just say under 300 million, give or take the marketing as well. So that's pretty damn good. But some people would say that, despite it making all of this money, everyone having pretty high praise for it, over time, you know, has it lost its lust, its glory, its shininess, its newness? Um, and I've tried to think about, how we're going to tackle this podcast in a couple different ways. Just, how visual storytelling has really changed since the release of the first Avatar. I mean, the first Avatar was sitting at 2 hours and 42 minutes. And when I'm watching it, it feels long, but it doesn't feel like, it, tons need to be cut out to make this work. It definitely feels like, you know, there's probably a 4 or 5 hour cut of the movie that would probably still work really well as a small mini series. So I wanted to say that, kind of going into this podcast, that, since 2009, we've had the Game of Throneses of the world. We've had, some people watch like the expansions, trying to think of other really big epic storytelling. I think maybe Vikings. I haven't seen that show, but I'm pretty sure that was on the History Channel or something like that. It was on cable television. But anyways, the whole reason I'm bringing all these different television series up were mostly because expansive television has become, Game of Thrones starts to feel the epic storytelling that we've wanted and that we saw in Avatar. So it's like if it were the first time that Avatar were coming out this year, would it be a 3 hour movie, or would it be a 6 or 8 hour or 10 hour miniseries or limited series on Disney Plus or on whatever? I think it was Fox at the time that they had put it out. So if Fox had their own streaming service, then maybe Fox would have decided to have Avatar come out on their streaming service if they were to have their own and they were not owned by Disney. So the whole thing is, the way storytelling has been expanded upon, how we go to the movies for different reasons than what we did in 2009. We kind of went for much more experiences, epic storytelling that was shown on the big screen and shared with a whole lot of audiences. And I feel like just the way that, obviously because of COVID and the pandemic and stuff like that, habits have changed, but reasons to go to the movie theater have completely changed as well. Right now, I think most people can see the box office numbers, and all the medium sized movies really just aren't coming out, or they're bombing. And then we have the big uh, blockbusters that are coming out, the Marvels, MCU movies coming out, still doing pretty big numbers, but you don't exactly see growth in the ticket sales over the course of the last couple years. There was this kind of like pinnacle around Avatar Endgame is what it feels. Sorry, Avatar Avengers Endgame, and yeah. So the whole reason I'm bringing it up is, a lot of studios might opt to do mini series, or expand this world. They might have told James Cameron, "Hey, we want you to have an Avatar movie. We want you to have 3 TV shows. Everyone's going to have a prequel show." They want to have a serious franchise they're going to be able to use and milk for every every day they've got it, you know? So I went back and watched Avatar 2009. I'm a big fan of the Slash Film Cast. I saw that they were doing the same thing. A lot of other big podcasts were doing um, Avatar 2009 rewatches as well to kind of get a refresh to go watch the new Avatar 2 The Way of Water. Is it called Avatar 2 The Way of Water, or is it just called Avatar The Way of Water? It's just Avatar The Way of Water. There's no 2. So, and I actually have seen some reviews for some tweets about it. Nothing spoilerific or anything. I won't really reveal anything, but it's kind of what I would expect. Now, everyone says don't bet against James Cameron. I mean, what is it? Every movie since let's look at this guy's Carfax. Let's bring up the Carfax. James Cameron, born August 16th, 1954. Canadian. All right, that's enough. We don't have to do all that. But he's known for movies such as The Terminator 84, Aliens 86, The Abyss 89, Terminator 2 91, True Lies 94, Titanic 97, Avatar 2009. He's won Academy Awards, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Editing. He's a recipient of other industry accolades to other films of selected preservation for the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress. I did that all in one breath. Sorry. So he's known for tons of progression in the digital front of pushing, the boundaries of technology, behind the camera, and making sure, I don't know if it's like his job or anything, but it feels like it does kind of fall upon him every 5 to 10 to 15 years for this guy just to redefine the industry. Because if you look at all those movies that I've just named, almost every single other one is just like, holy shit, that was an industry shifter. It changed the paradigm shift of everything we knew about movies. When Titanic came out, it blew everything out of the proportion of what we thought movie making could be, and people were just going back and back and back and forth of seeing Titanic a million times. Same thing, Avatar 2009 was happening too. The same thing of that reoccurring experience of wanting to relive it was just happening over and over. His movies are so much of an experience. And 2009's Avatar is no different, obviously. I think based off of those movies I just kind of named, I kind of want to go back and see if he has any duds recent of those. I kind of want, well, maybe we'll go back and really dig into it, because Aliens, Terminator 2, True Lies, Titanic, Avatar, all those, amazing. I know he's a writer on a couple of movies that I'm just not crazy about. I mean, like, he's considered a writer on Terminator Dark Fate, Alita Battle Angel, Terminator Genesis. He's a writer. He's credited on things that I wouldn't necessarily are the gold standard. So just having his name on things isn't going to solve everything. It really has to be, he has to be behind the camera. Okay, so looking at it real quick, all those movies I just named, I'm looking at them. Dark Angel, I'm not familiar with that. Never heard of it. Expedition, not sure. Ghost of the Abyss, not sure. That might be a, yeah, yeah. I think that's actually a documentary. I haven't seen any of his documentaries. Honestly, he has not directed a ton of movies. Actually, all the movies I just named. Okay, Alien of the Deep. Is that Aliens of the Deep? James Cameron teams up with NASA. Yeah, that's got to be. Honestly, all of his movies, just about. Maybe was that one that I was talking about? Sorry, this is kind of a little bit of side tangent. I just want to see if he had any bombs. I really don't know any. Okay, so Dark Angel is a Jessica Alba television show. I didn't even know about this. What the hell? 42 episodes. Anyways, yeah, I honestly have. He doesn't have any bombs. That's the thing. He doesn't have anything that you've been like, wow, this is just a piece of garbage or something like that, or that was a bomb. There's nothing to really compare it to. Relatively, I think the only thing I haven't seen is The Abyss, but I think the most undercooked thing that I've seen is the Terminator, and that's just kind of the beginning, and that's just at the very beginning of what of what he's really started to do. He's just now getting out the the filmography once he's busting into that. Did he direct? Okay, so he directed Piranha 2, The Spawning. Haven't really seen that, so but he directed that with a couple other people. But anyways, I just wanted to see if he had any bombs. He does not have bombs. So I have got relatively high expectations for Avatar Way of Water. Um but yeah, let's kind of digress back to our discussion of Avatar 2009, but that's kind of a little bit of a look behind the Cameron. It's a look behind the Cameron, and let's kind of look in front of the camera. Obviously, like we said, with James Cameron, directed, written, produced, all by Cameron, and then produced again by John Landau. Obviously, he was a producer on Titanic as well, so he's been in the bag with Cameron for a minute. But on the front of the Cameron is Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Michelle Rodriguez, Sigourney Weaver. So kind of going on from the way up, everyone knows Sigourney Weaver is all the way back from Aliens, um, or Alien, and then Michelle Rodriguez. We got Family. Stephen Lang been in a whole bunch of different multitudes of kind of being usually the antagonist of most things he plays in. Not saying he is or not in this movie because I don't want to spoil it, but he's normally the heavy. Um, Zoe Saldana is the lead female protagonist, and she is in full motion capture gear. And I gotta say, just off the top, she's phenomenal. She is doing the most, and I feel like the effects kind of follow her the most. Like any sort of emotion she is emoting at the time feels like it's captured 100% by the motion capture. And she plays Natiri, which comes to our lead character who we are following. Sam Worthington plays Jake Sully. I can tell you in basically two lines why Jake Sully doesn't work, but I'm not going to until we get into the spoilers. Um, it's kind of obvious. People ask, why didn't Avatar 2009 catch on? The cultural relevance become the sayings, the lines. Why wasn't the I'll be backs, the draw me like one of your French girls kinds of memeable types of movies like the rest of James Cameron's movies? Well, this is a giant film, and apparently Cameron has been working on this since he was even a young lad, like in his teens. He's been designing and working on Avatar type concepts for a very long time, uh, and so that's one reason I think that this is just an expansive film of he has to have his hands in all these different pots, from the design aspect to the writing aspect to making sure the CGI is correct. I can't even imagine where it begins to make sure everything is on course, because I mean, it's from 2009 to 2022 that it's taken for the second movie to come out, and it's just been kept pushed and pushed and pushed back. And the filming budget has just gone exponentially through the roof. I've heard that they have to make somewhere around 2 billion for the movie to start making money, which is just, even Cameron has said in interviews that that's just not economical. It just does not make any business sense. So with saying all that, um yeah, there's a couple reasons that I think that the movie is kind of just not as quotable as the other ones. And without any spoilers or anything, Jake Sully's not exactly, there is character points that kind of go up and down, back and forth. But Jake Sully's not exactly someone when you want to go dress up as in character in for Halloween, and coming from that, if you were coming to, let's just say you're watching Avatar. What didn't it say it came out in? Oh, it came out in December. I was thinking for some reason it was coming out in September. Anyways, if you wanted to be like a Navi, one of these blue characters that they have in there, that is not an easy outfit to do. So the iconography of this movie was not exactly easily replicable to be used for merchandising purposes. I think it's good for more experience purposes and definitely for digital merchandising purposes. Maybe that's a little bit more different. Like maybe have like a Navi skin for your Fortnite character or something. I know that wasn't an option back in 2009. Fortnite didn't exist, but what I'm saying is like the the branding of the Avatar franchise in 2009 stopped about 30 seconds after you left the movie theater and removed the 3D glasses, and you came out of the days of that world. It was an amazing experience. It was a lot of fun, but there was nothing past that you really wanted. And I don't know if there was any iconography of the world that you would immediately distinguish. Oh, that's Navi, or oh, that's the mother tree, that's the home tree, or whatever. A lot of the things, like saying, oh, that's a blaster, oh, that's a stormtrooper, oh, that's a lightsaber or something. The branding of the items and the things and the merchandising, it's not like I'm saying that they should have leaned into that more, but I think that might have hurt it a little bit, that someone didn't go in and say, oh, you don't have a little blue blob blue guy that needs to be sold, a little cute thing that needs to be bought. The animals in here look a little bit too ferocious, we might not want to sell them, kind of thing. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Do you want to go for more realistic, or do you want to kind of go for more of a merchandising corporate stance of like wanting to push this and merchandise the hell out of and squeeze Avatar 2009 for everything it's worth? That's there. I think there was a couple a couple number. No, there's a number of reasons why I think that this movie didn't surpass, the actually, I could be bullshitting at this point because I honestly don't have any what the number is of merchandising sales. Hold on, like Avatar 2009 sales. I'm actually curious about this. I'm not sure if there's a final number for that, but there was a Hollywood Reporter. Let me see. There was a Hollywood Reporter June 9th, 2010 article that said that Avatar has made $153 million in retail sales. But 20th Century Fox believes it can continue to roll out licensed product even without firm plans to make a sequel and make Avatar a long-term retail blockbuster. That is so interesting. That they were trying to use the merchandising, quote unquote, merchandising strategy, but I don't remember in my recent memory that many people have tons of like Funko Pops or any types of Avatar materials that came out of that time. Maybe like I think of like T-shirts in around 2009. But yeah, so um, I'm not sure how the merchandising worked for it. It's not no Toy Story where everyone's getting a fresh uh, Buzz or uh, Woody the Cowboy toy or something like that. It's not, to my knowledge. Could be though. But if it made $153 million in sales, and that was in June 9th, 2010, that was about 8 months later. I could easily see that this Avatar could probably made half a billion in merchandising retail sales. So that wouldn't surprise me. I'm not sure how that compounds though. Is it like 100 million a year, or did people stop buying for a couple years? It's a little bit um, unknown at this time. But I'll link anything I can that I find. So yeah, let me kind of wrap back into the podcast of what we were discussing. What the hell? Avatar 2009. Yeah, so Sam Worthington. What's the deal with Sam Worthington? Well, a lot of people might have give Sam Worthington a little bit of shit, just kind of like, what's going on with this guy? Why is he not as, charismatic as Harrison Ford? Is he a bad actor? Is he only good as the blue character? That kind of thing. Those were kind of my questions in my head, kind of floating around before watching it. Going back, rewatching Avatar 2009, Sam Worthington, very good, fine actor. Not as charismatic as like Harrison Ford, but who the hell is? Um, I gotta say, the biggest problem for me of of his character. Hold on, let me get back. 2009, 2009. Okay. Biggest problem was the writing on this character. There is motivations for this character that make this character not exactly someone I personally would want to root for. So that's just kind of where I stood for the majority of the film. And I can, like I said, go into spoilers about it, why I didn't like this character as much and why I wouldn't want to, like, quote unquote, relate to him. I don't want to be him like you wanted to be Luke Skywalker or something like that. It wasn't something of that nature. Um, so let me see what Sam was doing before. Okay, so he had just starred in Terminator Salvation. I think he was. I remember seeing Salvation in theaters. Looks like he was in a couple of smaller roles: Rogue to Twisted, Delivery Man, Macbeth, and then a couple of television shows that are smaller. I think he's an Australia. Oh no, sorry, he's an English um, actor from the UK. And yeah, I think Avatar, besides Terminator Salvation, oh sorry, Clash of the Titans was the other movie he was in the year after, but he probably was filming that around the same time as Avatar. Um, but he hasn't really been in too many notable things since then. And I don't know. I it's Avatar is kind of a double-edged sword because I think he's in a movie where everything is outshining this guy, from the special effects to the co-stars to even the campy script that's kind of going on. Um, that Sam Worthington's kind of playing more or less the everyman, but I wouldn't say that most people would want to be this guy, and not because of his physicality or the way he looks or anything like that. It's just like I said, the writing or the it's what they made him do in the movie. So that is our main character, Sam Worthington. We don't need to go down too many more specific details. James Horner is the composer. Wasn't too familiar with anything that he's done off the top of my head. Let me see. Star Trek 3. That's an 84. Aliens 86. Okay, so he's worked on Cameron's movie before. He did the soundtrack for Willow 88. Honey has Shrunk the Kids 89. Braveheart 95. Rocketeer 91. Zorro 98. Deep Impact 98. Beautiful Mind 2001. Amazing Spider-Man 2012. Yeah, kind of, movies are kind of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. His score for James Cameron's Titanic is the best selling. Okay, so that's where it is. I was like, I don't see where this guy's standing out, but I see it now. So yeah, the Titanic score was really good. I don't think any things that I've really seen on this list is quite as notable as that. In the music in Titanic, from the soundtrack to the composition, that's so memorable. I don't even think I can hum it right. It's such a good one. But cinematography for Avatar 2009 is Mario Fiore, I believe, is the Italian cinematographer. And Let me see. He was born Calibria. See what else this guy's done around 2009. Okay, so before Avatar, he was working on with Peter Berg on The Kingdom. I like Peter Berg's work. I might have to go back and check that out. Smoking Aces, Joe Carnahan's, Michael Bay's The Island, Anton Fuqua's Tears of the Sun, Training Days, Anton Fuqua again. I don't really see too many of the heavy CGI movies except for maybe The Island that I would have said that this guy would have worked on. I can see when it goes from The Island to probably Avatar, which had probably crazy amount of cinematography awards. Yeah, it did. BAFTAs, awards, Chicago's, films, critics associations, all the Houston associations, the New York associations. Everyone's got an association. Best cinematography for all of that. Academy Award for best cinematography. Cinematography. Yeah, the dude fucking went out. He didn't have to go that hard, but he did. And then went on to the next year to release A-Team, and then Real Steel, and then Runner. I don't remember that one. Oh, that's the JT one. Equalizer, Southpaw, Magnificent. Oh, this dude does have a lot of notable films that it's like B movies that I haven't exactly seen. It's like ones I've heard of and like, oh yeah, I heard about it. I heard it was like, eh. But yeah, I saw a handful of these. Magnificent Seven, Dark Phoenix. What do we got? What the hell? Damn. Someone got their damn car beeping. Who the hell's got their fucking car beeping? Dude, takes 2 seconds. Okay, so anyway, sorry. Um, yeah, so that's the behind the scenes, cinematography, composers, all that good stuff, the actors. I wanted to kind of really dig deep on this movie to see what the heck is going on, why this was going to be a slam dunk. So we do have big names coming back. For this movie, and from the composition to the director, we have an interesting cast. It's a cast I wouldn't exactly have said that would have been like a knockout hit, but I can definitely see it as well. And I also saw another movie coming into this as well, coming into the Avatar movie. I wonder if anyone's heard of, I think it's 2000s Atlantis, and that is also a Disney film. Ironically, Atlantis. Okay, so is it Atlantis: The Lost Empire? Okay, that's 2001's Atlantis: The Lost Empire. I wanted to kind of talk about that just a hair before we got into the plot of this movie, mostly because of, oh my god, it's the same fucking thing. What the fuck? How did Disney not sue the balls off of 20th Century Fox for, it's not even spoilers. It's quite honestly almost beat for beat very similar to the same plot as Avatar 2009, and it came out hand over fist 8 years earlier. I was floored when I found it was. I think this is kind of. I think this is called Dancing with Wolves or something like that. I think it's the same plot as the quote unquote the colonizer has to go into the camp of settlers, which are normally quote unquote the Native Americans, which in this case would be the Navi, and he has to learn the ways of becoming them, and then he's uh becomes one of them. And I don't want to talk about the rest of the movie because go see it, we'll talk about it in spoilers, but the paths are very predictable because they go down the same paths. So I don't even know how they're not sued on this. I was so floored going back and watching 2009's Avatar, and then going back and watching what is it, the Lost Empire, Atlantis: The Lost Empire, almost 2 nights later. I'm like, holy shit, it's the same exact thing. I'm like, this is crazy. And anyways, so let's kind of hop back into a little bit more details of this, and we'll get into the plot and spoiler section. Avatar premiered in London on December 10th, 2009, and was released in the United States on December 18th to a positive review of. Oh yeah, we discussed all this. Um, Let me see. Visual effects. During its theatrical run, the film broke several box office records, because the highest grossing film of all time. Blah, 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 blah. Avatar remained the highest grossing. Oh, okay. So as well as the United States and Canada, surpassing James Cameron's Titanic, which had held those records for 12 years. Avatar remained the highest grossing film in the world for nearly a decade, until it was overtaken by Avengers Endgame in 2009, but a Chinese re-release of Avatar led to the film retaking the worldwide top spot in March 2021, where it has been ever since. Adjusted for inflation, Avatar is the second highest grossing film of all time, after Gone with the Wind, with a total of more than 3 billion. It also became the first film to gross more than 2 billion, and the best-selling video title of 2010 in the United States. I remember everyone and their mother had Avatar on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. Avatar was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and won for Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, and Best Visual Effects. The success of the film also led to electronics manufacturers releasing 3D televisions, and caused 3D films to increase in popularity, which, if you want to ask me, I think both have kind of declined in use. Most people don't want to wear more things to enjoy their entertainment, unless it's some sort of AR, VR kind of. Um, following the film's success, Cameron signed with 20th Century Fox to produce 4 sequels. I remember hearing this and thinking they were crazy, because it had already been like 1 or 2 years. I was like, nah. Avatar: The Way of Water and Avatar 3 have completed principal filming and are scheduled to be released in 2022 and 2024, respectively. Subsequent sequels are scheduled to be released in 2026 and in 2028. Several cast members are expected to return, including Worthington, Saldana, Lang, and Weaver. I believe we're going to get some deaths in some of these movies, because there's no way they're going to be able to afford all of these actors for a super long time. I would just, I'm thinking the big names. One of them's got to go. We'll probably keep Saldana, and I'm thinking, well, I mean, we'll discuss. All right, so that is the non-spoiler section for Avatar 2009. Thank you for listening, watching Look It All podcast, and enjoying the podcast. Thumbs upping, subscribing, liking, doing everything you can to helping keeping the lights on in the podcast space. It takes server space. It costs to have the server space. It costs to have the library of Lucky Dog Podcast always available on the cloud. But we do it for you. The only thing we ask is your thumbs up, your subscribes, you share our shit, your 5 stars our ass, and keep us going. Sorry, the fucking coffee is getting a little bit crazy. I must have poured a little bit of extra stuff in here. You know what I mean? I'm just messing. But no, the coffee is fucking slapping right now. Don't normally be hitting that Cafe Bustelo at 6:30 in the evening, but sometimes you just gotta do what you just gotta do. And this is what we're about to do, an Avatar review for you. Um, let's see. All right, so that is the podcast. For everyone that has not seen Avatar 2009 and wants to bow out now, I totally respect that. Hold the podcast, come back, save it. You know what to do. We'll be right here. If this is YouTube, I'm just gonna be like, and we back, you know? So yeah, just hop back into the podcast and we can just complete the review. I don't like Sam Worthington looking at me like that, so I'm going to change that photo. And yeah, so I'm going to give everybody about 15, 20 seconds. I'm going to drink some more of this crazy. I just noticed some things that are in the shot. I'm going to have to edit the hell out of this, but it's a good thing we're not live. um, anyways, give you about 15, 20 seconds to adjust everything, get your stuff ready, you roll up what you need, and yeah, we will begin the Avatar 2009 review. And like I said, there's a lot of plus to it. I think the majority of the direction, very strong. The casting, I think, generally works really well. There's not like a strong, there's not like a weak section for me. The characters can be a little bit caricature but I feel like it's supposed to be written that way. So if it's done on purpose, I can totally see it. Um, the negatives, I would say, some of the characters, some of the main characters, a little bit unlikable, a little bit assholeish, and and some I wouldn't exactly want to follow for 3 hours. And I think that is just about it off the top of my head. The emotional stakes, the predictability, it is a tad bit predictable, is what I'd say, especially having seen something like Atlantis or having seen something, I think it said Gone with the Wind or something. I was just like, um, could have maybe, you know, taken it a less, it wasn't like super predictable, but I was like, I think this is going to happen. Oh, yep, it happened, that kind of thing. But nothing that I'd super ding it for, but I think, oh yeah, I would give this an 8 out of 10. This is a hard 8 out of 10. If those the thing that really pushes it in the 8 direction for me, as opposed to having like a 7, because I think it is kind of mostly a 7-ish type movie, but because the visuals transport you and take you into this new experience, you're experiencing a new world, a new land, a new time. It deserves that absolute extra star right there. Probably should deserve an extra star, but the emotional stakes for me didn't hit as hard rewatching, and I think that sometimes movies, debatably movies are different when you rewatch them, and you'll give them a different feel, give them a different rating. But anyways, going back and rewatching it, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Definitely hard recommend, and go check it out if you haven't seen Avatar 2009. Let's get into the spoiler section for Avatar 2009. And here is the plot. Allow it. In 2054, the natural resources of Earth have been depleted. The Resources Development Administration mines the valuable mineral unobtainium on Pandora, a moon in the Alpha Centauri star system. Pandora, whose atmosphere is mostly gaseous, is inhabited by the Na'vi, a 10-foot tall, blue skinned, sapient humanoids that live in harmony with nature. To explore Pandora, genetically matched humans, scientists use Na'vi human hybrids called avatars. Paraplegic Marine Jake Sully is sent to Pandora to replace his deceased identical twin who had signed up to be an operator. Avatar program head director Grace Augustine considers Sully inadequate but accepts him as a bodyguard. So that's basically 25 minutes of the beginning of the movie, kind of introducing us to the world, why we're here, who we're here with, who the hell's Jake Sully, who's his his team that he's going to be working with, who's the big general guy that's like, they're going to, Pandora is fucking crazy and they have big jaguars out there that will eat your eyes like juju beads. And I remember that line distinctly because I remember some reviewer had said that this is the lines in this movie are so campy and so ridiculous, and they're not that memorable that I had to go back and I saw that. I just remember that line, and they'll they'll carve your eyes out and eat them like juju beads. I was like, that's a fucking line. I was like, and when I realized after he says that line, I feel like every single line post juju beads is some sort of, for the first 45 minutes, it's like explaining how crazy this world is, or how asshole-ish a character is. Like Sigourney Weaver, I feel like, is an obtuse ass the entire time, saying how inadequate Jake Sully is. And I gotta say, we're already in the spoiler section, so I would have expected you to have seen this movie. Jake Sully, worst character that ever to not listen ever. Dude is running like a quadrillion-dollar avatar program on a whole nother star system, planet, whatever, for his a dead identical brother. And every time they tell him not to do something, this motherfucker does it twice. Jake, don't stand up. Jake, don't go run. Don't go out in the thing. Don't don't piss off the rhinoceros thing. Jake, don't do this. Jake, don't do that. Even when he meets Zoe Saldana's Natiri, when he meets Natiri, she's like, don't do this, don't touch that, don't boop that, don't bop that. He does everything. I was so pissed off at this character. I was like, dude, you are a fucking child. Every time they tell you not to do something, you do it and you fuck shit up. I was like, you do not deserve to have this program at all. Now, it is one it's it's one thing for us to be like, wow, I'm really endeared to this guy that is, a paraplegic, and he's really getting out there in the zone. But it feels like almost the way that this movie ages with regards of being handicapped, I guess, or handy capable, whatever the term is now. That everyone shitting on him immediately. They're like talking directly to his face. They're like, I think when someone calls him Meals on Wheels, I was like, oh Jesus, why you gotta do him like that? I was like, what, seriously, why? You're like, all right, there is a lot of slander towards this guy being in a wheelchair. It's like, I'm sure that there is plenty of people in wheelchairs watching this movie that are like, fuck you. That is like, come on now. So anyways, fucking Arnold's looking at me behind there. It's creeping me out. I watched Total Recall earlier. I'm like, am I in the program right now? I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I was noticing, yeah, it feels like a lot of people are assholes. A lot of assholes in this, and a lot of people that aren't listening. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head. So that's kind of Jake Sully in a nutshell, and a couple other people. You obviously got Norm Spellman. I mean, that's the most nerdiest dude you can think of. And of course, we got Giovanni Ribisi. Giovanni Ribisi is usually pretty damn good in things, but it feels like this movie, he's like told, they're like, all right, we need camp of the camp of the camp of the camp, and then triple it and double it and triple it by extra camp. And that's what we need from you, Giovanni. Can you do that? And he just does like a ha, ha, of course. And I don't even know what kind of accent the guy's doing half the time, but it's like some sort of Italian, maybe, like accent. So, anyways, he's playing a caricature. Stephen Lang playing a caricature. Norm Spellman. I mean, that's written as a caricature. And then we have Augustine. Obviously, as soon as she hops out of her avatar bed, she's like, "Where's my cigarette?" Like, y'all are already fucking up. She's always the one to tell everybody they're always fucking up. It's like, okay, thanks for telling us that. So, anyways, a lot of assholes. But anyways, Jake's basically hired to be the heavy when they're on these expeditions as avatars. And so it is cool. I got to say that despite everyone being assholes, it is cool them experiencing the new world, the avatar body, what it can do, the different world that they're in, the animals, the everything about it. I love being introduced to a brand new world in this type of environment. And then when it's done well, it's kind of it's given out to you kind of slowly instead of expeditiously. And so I think that this movie does a very good job of kind of introducing you to that and kind of giving you that wondrous feel. So let me see what else we got right here. While escorting the avatars, Grace and Norm Spellman, Avatar, Jake's, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Dr. Norm Spellman, Jake's avatar is attacked by a Pandorian wildlife. He flees into the forest where he is rescued by a female Navi, Neytiri. Witnessing an auspicious sign, she takes him to the clan. She nearly kills him with like an arrow that's like, I think they're all carefully dipped in some sort of poison or something, I don't remember. But I think they explain how dangerous everything is. You remember they'll claw your eyes like juju beads. Like juju beads. But so Neytiri shows up in, my God. Holy cannoli. It is, like I said, all of the CGI, all of the effects, all look really good. But then when whatever they put on the really good effects, they saved everything for Zoe Saldana's Neytiri. I swear, like every inch, you're like, God dang. It's like, I don't know what world that is, but we need to go there right now. And you know exactly why. I was watching this several times. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, just looks like a real individual. And she's fine. I'm telling you, through the roof, doesn't even make sense. Throw the respect on there. You got to say she is the most respectably fine blue individual I've ever seen in my life. So we're just going to set that right there, I was like, God dang. And I noticed distinctly she has very little on the entire time. I haven't gone back and watched and listened to a whole bunch of reviews of Avatar 2009, but I don't remember. I was a freshman in high school, so fucking thinking of fucking an Avatar thing is a Navi is not on my brain even at all. So I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? But now I'm just like, God dang, y'all really fucking went all out on that shit. Y'all didn't have to go that hard, but my God, and on top of that, some people got like the giant fetish going on. These things are 10 foot tall. So there's scenes with these Navi and these, and then regular sized people, and they're huge. When they're trying to get Jake Sully to fucking calm the fuck down, he's a huge. So I really liked every single time that they shared screen time with a human, because you can really see how fucking big they are. So Neytiri witnesses kind of like nature interacting with Jake Sully, and it's this whole thing of like, wow, nature's really saying he's the one, or he is some sort of special individual, kind of, can't kill him kind of thing. It's bad for the universe, that type thing, and Neytiri is very much, when she saves Jake from these like little Jurassic Park type like animals, like trying to kill him. She has to like cut one of the necks of one of them, but then she like prays and says, my bad, I'm sorry, go return to the earth. So it's very, it's like, it's very kind of like one with earth, that type of thing. So she takes Jake back to the clan, and given this time, at this point, Jake this is his first outing in the Avatar body. He's lost his team. and they think he's done at this point. You know, it's completely, relatively hopeless from their end. They're like, oh, he's fucked. There's no way he's going to live. So Natiri's actually kind of taking care of him, kind of taking him under his wing, and then introduces him to the family and the clan, the uh, the Natiri family and everybody. And I gotta say that we don't really get that much time or perspective from anyone except for the leaders of the clan and then one other guy who seems to be kind of interested in Suye, I think. um yeah, he's the one that's interested in Natiri as well, but I don't feel like we get too much perspective from the people of the Navi and whatnot. So there are downsides to how the movie is dissected from the Native American, the quote unquote Native American way. You know, it's very much going from the the colonizer's perspective the entire time. So Natiri's mother, Moye, the spiritual leader of the clan, orders her daughter to initiate Jake into their society. Colonel Miles Quadrick, head of RDA's security force, promises Jake the company will restore his legs if he provides information about the Navi and their gathering place, the giant home tree under which a rich deposit of unobtainium, of which is a rich deposit of unobtainium. It's like, you know, the resource that the colonizers are trying to get. And we've seen this in multiple other movies that we've mentioned already. One thing that I want to kind of talk about that's kind of not even just spoken about, but like one or two sentences, is the fact that Jake is he isn't physically in the body. He's tethered to the body. And there is a technology that is letting him, you know, technically sit in a tube, lay in a tube, and mentally control the body of the avatar. And the whole time, he does not tell Natiri or anybody else that this is his situation. And at this point, he's agreed to the general or the colonel, that Colonel Miles, that he'll give all of the information he can about the Navi to him. And I think it's the Marines, for them to go take up the unobtainium. And so Jake is basically undercover asshole for the next hour and a half, I think, through the destruction of, I think it's around the end of the second act. So this is why I fucking hate Jake. First of all, I've never met a grown man named Jake. I've been like, yeah, that's a great guy. I'm just messing, dude. Jake. But really, most of them change their name from Jake to Jacob or something like that, or Jack. I don't know. I don't know what happens to the Jakes once they hit a certain age. Like, I've never met a really old man named Jake. Jacob, maybe. I don't know what happens to them. Where do they go? Um. Anyways, so that's why I don't like Jake. Jake sullies himself around the middle of this movie, or, you know, right at the beginning of him being interested in it. But so what I'm saying is, he's going back and forth from being tethered to this body, kind of sleeping in and out, busting in and out of consciousness of where he is. Which on one end of the spectrum is cool that they're doing it this way, and they're not really spending too much time on the technology of it. It's like, oh, the tech isn't letting him go through it. It's just a very much, is he in the tube or is he not in the tube? Is his body secure or is his body not secure? So, you know, learning of this, you know, of Jake informing Miles of the unobtainium and everything. Learning of this, Grace transfers herself, Jake and Norm, to an outpost. Jake and Natiri fall in love as Jake is initiated into the tribe. And now this is where I'm kind of like, Natiri is almost instantly kind of smitten with him. She doesn't like him, but she's just all of a sudden kind of like feeling up on him a little bit, on his avatar body and whatnot. And they're having fun, giddy experiences, and laughing at the bully guy Titsu, who's trying to make fun of him all the time, but Natiri's always got his back. It seems very tropey, I guess, kind of cliche. Is that the right word? um and so the human team, Dr. Spellman, Dr. Grace, all of them, they don't like Jake for, I don't know, 20 minutes of the movie, because they're like, all right, well, this guy's just, you know, comes in here, thinks he's running shit, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, he's just like thinking that he knows best, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what the right cause or the right way to kind of formulate it. But anyways, it's everyone hates him at first, and now everyone loves him. And he's getting endeared in both the team and the company and in the tribe, and uh, kind of having like these montages with Natiri and and the tribe, and kind of becoming more native and stuff like that. Definitely kind of having some colonization happening. Um, and you can kind of see how they kind of start to become, closer at one point. But still, I fucking hated him. He had multiple chances to tell her that. He is he's taking advantage basically of everything. He becomes, I think, initiated into the tribe at this point. And let me see. Jake and Natiri fall in love as Jake is initiated into the tribe. He and Natiri choose each other as mates. And I think it's a beautiful scene. Obviously, every scene they're in Pandora is just gorgeous. It's glowing. Everything's about it. It's just like you'd want to take any date you had there. Honeymoons or get engaged. It just is a beautiful ass place. And so it's very romantic every time that they would have the romantic scenes between Jake and Natiri. And then when they have the kind of the falling in love scene, and he says, she has to choose me, kind of thing, the two-way street of consensuality, I guess would be the word, being consensual on both ends, which I thought was oddly pretty progressive for 2009. I wasn't sure that they were going to go full through. Usually it's whole hog. The man has to go, jump, throw himself on a lady or something like that. But he was very much courting of her, and he's very respectful, I thought, and it mostly worked. With the exception of him being a gigantic asshole and lying about everything, I think it was very romantic. So that was that scene, and everyone discusses. So I watched the extended version, I believe, on Disney Plus. Got that little Black Friday deal, if you know what I mean. That $2.99 a month. I was like, steal. I actually heard that normal Disney Plus is going to like $10.99 a month. I was like, damn, y'all really bumping it up from like $7 to $10.99. Yeah, that's a lot. So anyways, yeah. And then that one extended edition scene, I swear everyone says it's the same thing when he's like trying to learn how to fly uh the pterodactyl thing, and he has to like connect with the horse with his little hair tail dick thing, and they connect that way, and they become tethered to the horse, become tethered to the bird thing, become tethered to each other of the things. I swear i swear that they had it in, so in the version that I saw on Disney, they do not connect their little hair tie thingies. I think in the extended cut they do, but in the Disney one they don't. And apparently it was never shown in theaters that they ever really connect to their little hair thing. The whole thing was like, so basically what they were saying is like you connect to the horse with your little hair thing and you also have sex with your little hair thing. And apparently that never happened or something like that. There's some sort of big allegation. I don't know. There ain't no allegations. But anyways, um, I was like, wow, I thought they changed the scene or something like that, but apparently it never happened. So I was just very I was surprised the romantic scene still worked for me very well. Still think it was edited heavily for the stream though, the Disney Plus. I was like, okay. And yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else we got right here. And of course, Zoe Saldana, she'll go with a she'll go with a white guy, she'll go with a blue guy, but she won't go with a black guy. There's some sort of like long-term joke or run-on joke about Zoe Saldana never dating black dudes in any movie she's in. Is that true? Can we get a confirmation on that? Let me see. Let me see. I don't want to like call her out for all this, but does she have some explaining to do? All right. Don't I just saw Amsterdam. I don't remember. She doesn't have a black boyfriend in that, I don't think. All right. Guardians of the Galaxy. The Atom Project. Nope. Nope. Maya and 3. Didn't see that. Nope. I don't know. If I didn't see it, doesn't count. Endgame technically doesn't count. Nope. Infinity War. Eh. She was in the Drake video. He's kind of light skinned, so I don't know. Takers. I don't remember if she was dating a black dude in that. The Losers. I don't think she dated a black dude in that. Anyways, we cannot confirm nor deny her love interests or what she's interested in, nor do we really care. But I just wanted to look at that for shits and giggles. Anyways, let's hop back into the review. Kind of forgot what we were doing for a second. Oh yeah. Okay, so anyways, Jake, Neytiri fall in love. Jake initiated in the tribe. They make sweet, sweet love in the glowing forest, and he and in like a very sacred area of the forest where they. And I don't think it's really explained why the forest chooses him at all. I don't really think that's explained at all. So, anyways, he and Neytiri choose each other as mates. When Jake attempts to disable, and then they're attacked by a bulldozer. When like through the sacred area, I think they just like wake up in that sacred area. It's the morning after. So when Jake attempts to disable a bulldozer, which is threatening a sacred Na'vi site where they wake up after having sex, Administrator Parker Selfridge, Giovanni Ribisi's character, orders home tree destroyed. There's at one point that Parker Selfridge explains the cost of unobtainium to Grace Augustine at the beginning of the movie. He's like, this is why we are here, and this is why we're going to do what we want to do. And I think that was when I realized that this is not a very good script. And when he comes back on here, I'm like, oh God, he's just a non-caring ass the entire time, from playing golf in his office to just being an ass to Grace to all of it. He's just terrible. So he orders home tree destroyed, despite Grace's argument that destroying home tree could damage Pandora's biological neural network. Like he just like acts like none of it even matters. He's like, I don't give a fuck. He's just like, he's a fucking baby. Selfridge gives Jake and Grace 1 hour to convince the Na'vi to evacuate. And I feel like he says like, at the beginning, originally, he's like trying to have a conscience about it. He's like, do we care? Do we care about it? Do we give them a peaceful resolution? Do we not do it? I mean, not doing it wasn't really an option. It was all about shareholder value and whatnot. But yeah, I was just surprised by how much he's like, Should we do it? Yes, let's do it. Let's go. Don't give a fuck. Like he just like it's just a full hog go. Jake confesses that he was a spy and that the Navi take him and Grace captive, which they rightfully should. Jake's an ass. Grace is kind of complicit. Um, so Quaritch's men destroy Home Tree, and they fucking go full apocalypse now with a. I don't think they play the music, but I kind of wanted to at that point because it's a hit the dun 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 dun. You know, he's over there drinking coffee and stuff like that. I mean, it very much reminds me of that. Kind of evokes that feeling. Rewatching it, and it's very sad watching all of the Navi just all getting destroyed and fucked up, and it doesn't matter how much. They have the arrows, you know, they're shooting at metal and glass that's not being broken in any sort of manner, so they're fucked. Um, so Selfridge, okay. So they destroy Home Tree, killing many, including Natiri's father and the clan chief. And it was like, God dang it, this is all this blood, the Home Tree on Jake's hands. Because we see him behind the scenes with Colonel Miles saying, this is how to do it. This is why I don't like Jake. The Moat frees Jake and Grace, but they are detached from their avatars and imprisoned by Quaritch's forces. Pilot Trudy, Pilot, I'm not calling her Trudy. What the fuck? Michelle Rodriguez. What the fuck y'all doing? Call her Trudy Chacrone? No. Pilot Rodriguez, disgusted by Colonel Miles's brutality, airlifts Jake and Grace and Norm Spellman to Grace's outpost. Grace is shot during the escape. Jake regains the Navi's trust by connecting his mind of that to Turok, a dragon-like creature feared and revered by the Navi. This is bullshit. Fucking colonizer coming in, showing how everyone can do it. No one can do it but the white guy from out of town, showing everybody how to do the thing he just fucking learned. Shut the fuck up. This ain't The Last Samurai. This is not what I like in a story at all. This is bullshit. And even movies like Atlantis pull this bullshit of the guy comes from out of town. Oh, shows you how to turn the key a little bit this way, and this how you do it, everybody. It's like, shut the fuck up. It honestly gets under my skin that this is the the reasoning why he is just okay. Everything is forgiven, blah blah blah. I was like, son of a bitch. I was like when he gets left, I'm just like, fuck you, Jake. I don't give a fuck about you. Like I you can hear me now. I'm just like, fuck this guy. At the sacred tree of souls, Jake pleads with Moet to heal Grace. And the way he gets on the Turok dragon is he goes from his dragon on top. He just jumps from the top instead of trying to do any other way. He just jumps. I was like, oh Jesus! I mean, all the flying scenes, all of that look phenomenal. It's very fun to watch. And just like a lot of flying scenes we've watched, House of the Dragon had a great flying scene of them taming dragons and whatnot. The feeling of flight on television, I feel like, is hard to obtain, but when they do it fucking phenomenal. How to Train Your Dragon. What is it? House of the Dragon. We got Avatar 2009. All great examples of flight on film. So yeah, so Jake pleads with him to heal Grace, because she's shot, and they have the Avatar body, and then they have a human body, and with like little to no obfuscation, saying no, maybe it's not a good idea. Yeah, bring her in, bring her in. We got it. Fuck the clan leader that just fucking died, and about a million other fucking Avatar blue guys that are fucking scattered all over the place in pieces. Let's bring Grace, Dr. Grace, and her Avatar body and save her. I was like, this is ridiculous. Um, this is why this movie is not like my top 20 or something like that, because there's a lot of things about this part, these last few little bumps that are coming in. I'm like, wait a minute, son of a, all right, that's it. If it didn't have this CGI visual stunning goodness, I'd be like, all right, this is coming back down. So yeah, the clan attempts to transfer Grace into her avatar with the aid of her tree of souls, but she dies. And I kind of forgot that she dies. It is sad. Supported by the new chief, Chutse, Jake unites the clan, and I hate him giving the rousing speech that ain't even that rousing. I was like, fuck this. And then Chutse is just like, yeah, I'll let you. I guess it's respectable that I'll translate for you. Anyways, it's not like Jake knows all this amount of information, in my opinion. That really helps. Jake unites the clan, telling them to all gather all the clans to battle the RDA. They could have thought of that himself. They didn't need him to say that. Quaritch organizes a strike against the Tree of Souls to demoralize the Na'vi. Jake prays to the Na'vi's deity, Yahweh, through a neural connection with the Tree of Souls. Chutse and Trudy are among the battle's heavy casualties. And I kind of forgot that Michelle Rodriguez gets taken out. I think she gets shot down in the bird, or in her flighty thing. And where is it? The Na'vi are rescued when Pandorian wildlife unexpectedly join the attack and overwhelm the humans, which Natiri interprets as Yahweh answering Jake's prayer. Kurik, wearing an AMP suit, escapes his crashed aircraft. And this is a crazy... I mean, the whole last 45 minutes, I'm kind of not doing a great service of describing the action, because it kind of it's just telling me on it's just giving me plot beats. But it is a fucking, like, it feels like it just feels like level after level after level after level of intense epic action, from big scale to medium scale to flight scale to ground scale. I mean, there is just fucking shit going all over the fucking place, and I'm here for it. I felt like I was holding on to my couch the whole time on this last like 45 minutes. I was like, dude, this fucking shit is rocking. And I remember when people were talking about saying, like the film cast said, we're talking about wanting to rewatch the movie, just turn it right back on. And the majority of the second act, I was like, this is fun, but I don't think I really want to rewatch it. After the third act, you're like, holy shit, I want to jump back in this shit, because this is a fucking ride. It feels like the roller coaster that you're on the majority of the time is a lot of fun, but then that last the last loop-de-loop on the third that third act is just one that is worth going back in line for. It's just like, holy shit. And it is a fucking like it's like just insanity. And then when the amp suit comes out, when they're going from the ship to the air, and then they're doing some combat with the and they got like Transformers mech suits going. I mean, it is kind of stupid that the fact that they have these amp suits that are carrying around giant guns. Like, why wouldn't you have guns in the shoulders or something like that? I don't know what the fuck's going on. So anyways, yeah, I was like, this is crazy. And then Natiri, he's just getting glee. Colonel Miles is just getting glee out of having fucking Natiri getting all torn apart, whatnot. And then we have the big Panther type alien thing coming in, last Deus Ex Machina style, and then all of these other things coming in Deus Ex Machina style, and then eventually gets stabbed, and then and then he's, Colonel Miles is trying to break the container where the body of Jake Sully is, to destroy where the oxygen flow is going. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like fucking genius. You got to destroy the body, destroy the avatar, destroys it all. And so he's wearing an amp suit, escapes his crashed aircraft, breaks open the avatar's link unit containing Jake's human body, exposing it to Pandora's poisonous atmosphere as Korik prepares to slit Jake's avatar's throat, which he probably should have. He is killed by Natiri, who saves Jake from suffocation. Seeing his human form for the first time, and you can just see the scale of her. She's like, just huge, fucking huge. And like I said, I love seeing the proportions of them together. Seeing, with the exceptions of Jake, Norm, and a select few others, all humans are expelled from Pandora. Jake is permanently transferred into his avatar with the aid of the tree souls. And that, my friends, is James Cameron's Avatar 2009. Let me know what you thought about the review. Let me know what you thought about the movie. Let me know what you think about the new Avatar 2 reviews, non-spoiler. Keep it non-spoiler if we're in the comments on YouTube or wherever you're commenting at. Try to keep it respectful for everyone that hasn't seen it. Let me know what you thought about 2009, though. Keep the comments very much of the 2009 section. We're going to cover The Way of Water and really get into the nitty-gritty of it. Yeah, I wanted to discuss the 2009 Avatar before we really got into The Way of Water. I have not seen The Way of Water at this time, but like I said, for 2009's Avatar, it's a solid 8 out of 10 for that, just the amazing visual effects alone. I think it's a pretty good movie with outstanding effects and really strong direction. Very much excited to see The Way of Water, and curious to see if they actually decide to greenlight the rest of the films, because I think that 3's finished as well, but we don't know about 4 or 5, and hell, I don't know about 6 at all. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the review, the movie, all the good stuff. 5 stars, like, subscribe. You know what to do. I see you.